Well, let's get started. So my name is Mel. I am here at the library at Kirkwood Public Library, where we do a lot of small business programming and help nonprofits as well. Colleen Mulvihill is here from the SBDC. So Colleen, do you want to give a quick rundown of what the SBDC
Sure,
is?
I would love to. So I am with the Small Business Development Centers, and I work out of the St. Louis Economic Development Partnership. So my services are specifically one-on-one business counseling, helping folks with their business planning, strategic planning, kind of connecting you to resources like where should you go look for funding, preparing to go in front of a lender with that business plan and projections and such. And then I do a lot of different training opportunities as well, including tomorrow afternoon. I'll put a plug in there at the Clark Family Branch for the Small Business Conference at the St. Louis County Libraries. So, and I would love to get all of your information so we can stay connected.
And then, so we are here today with a panel for National Women's Small Business Month. So we have Rita, Heather, and Michelle, and I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves as well and tell us a little bit about their business.
You want me to start?
All right, we're gonna start.
Okay.
Start with Michelle.
So I'm Michelle Robinson. I am the innovator behind Demi Blue's Clean and Vegan Nail Polish Company. I started the brand to help decrease women's exposure to toxic chemicals often found in conventional nail polish products. So,
Awesome.
My name is Heather Swan. I'm the yarn queen. I own Yarn.com, which is a local yarn shop. And then I'm also the head fiber freak for the annual Midwest Fiber Festival that takes place right here in Kirkwood at the St. Louis Community College Merrimack campus.
I didn't know that.
I didn't
I'm learning things.
We're gonna connect.
I bet you connect with almost everyone you ever talk to. It's amazing.
My name is Rita Jones. I'm the owner of Natural Average Lemonade. We are a business owned. We're down in Sewell Farmers Market. We've been in business about 4 years. We're in the process of developing our new brand, which is Pretty Lady Elixirs, which is the elevated cocktail mixer, as well as mocktails for any type of gatherings. We bring a little sparkle to every cocktail or mocktail you may have.
All right, so I'm gonna get started with some questions and then that we came up with, and then we can go to anyone online or anyone in here if you want to ask questions too. For those of you online, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question if you have one, as though you were in the room. So, how has your leadership style evolved over time? Who wants to tackle it first?
I'm happy to go.
Okay.
So I, luckily Mel helped kind of provide a couple of questions ahead of time because it just helped me get in the mindset. But that was also a big question in my opinion, because over time and the evolution and what does that look like? And are we talking about the last 3 years when I opened my businesses, or are we talking for the last 20 some odd years? But I would say that how the evolution happened has come with experience and a ton of mistakes. I've made so many mistakes, and when you make those mistakes, dealing with it in that moment, but then also just learning from it, having constant curiosity about that mistake. Why did I make that mistake? How can I not make that mistake in the future? What were the factors that were within my control, and what are the factors that are outside of my control? And so really trying to work through after flipping the switch in my head. And also, so part of the other how is that, especially over the last 3 years, I have stopped focusing on the negative and I've been focusing on the positive. So when I make a mistake, recognizing that, okay, this error did occur. This is the thing that happened. What are the positive things that I can take from that, and then move forward with the positive and not dwelling on the negative. Before 3 years ago, I dwelled a lot in that negative space. And since flipping that switch in my brain and just focusing on the positive, it has really helped me to be able to continue to evolve and learn from every mistake I continue to make. So.
Love that.
Yeah.
I'll piggyback a bit on what you're saying. My name is really Rita Trial and Error Jones. So many mountains and learning, beginning of where I started. I started very small baking cakes. And I'm talking about baking cakes anywhere and everywhere, selling these cakes anywhere and everywhere. And I got a better understanding of how to manage my time, my staff, my team, understanding my business, what I want to do. And then we paused that and we started this. And that those trials and errors, I literally have notebooks of information, of content. And I was able to, and some of those same lessons that I learned back then are still relevant today. Organize, prioritize, collaborate, understand, and communicate is important. I feel like now from years ago to today, there's so much social media now. You have to be very mindful of those things because that people are watching at all times. So you have to be very mindful, even in leadership. You have to be mindful of what you say or how you say it because someone is always watching. So I definitely think my leadership skills have changed in a much better way. And I'm still evolving. I'm still understanding the best way to communicate and network with people to the best of my ability.
I'll say for me, leadership has evolved, because I've transitioned from corporate America to now full-time entrepreneurship in corporate America. Of course, you have to, in the past, have been the strong voice in the room, having to lead quite a bit of employees under my belt in my corporate tenure. Now, as a full-time entrepreneur, I'm able to create space for nurturing and developing others in a different aspect. I'm able to kind of fall back and allow people to be a part of my growth process, all while strengthening their growth process. So it's it's completely different for me. Because like I said, in corporate America, from a very young age, I've always been in leadership and have had to lead and dictate a very large group of people. And some of those skills has carried on into entrepreneurship because I know how not to be a leader, right? And how I want to be in my business, a different type of leader, someone again who is nurturing and inviting and creating space for other people's growth.
Awesome. Okay, so this is gonna be a tough one. Was there ever a time you felt you had to hide part of yourself to succeed?
I can kick that off.
Yeah.
Of course, as I mentioned, corporate. So a little bit of background, I started out in healthcare. I worked at Washington University for over 11 years as a clinical administrator. And so I had several different departments under me and then transitioning from Washington University into proprietary education, where I then started to teach teachers to teach. Healthcare providers. And so I was a corporate dean. I managed 42 different schools across the Midwest. And so being polished and being the person that people looked to for information, I always felt like I had to be on top all the time. I had to know everything and I had to present a certain way. And now I don't know everything and I'm not afraid to say that. And where I relied on, being the person that people came to for knowledge and information, now I rely on getting knowledge and information from people that are around me. So again, it's all about creating space for me, to let people inside of this business to help me build something, versus people depending on me to build it, if that makes sense. Right? I don't do anything by myself anymore in this business. I invite the community in to help me name the nail polish colors and to, create the seasonal colors and to create events and things like that. And so now I'm just having fun and allowing, like I said, my community to be a part of it. Yeah.
I too came from corporate. I was in construction, I was in pharmacy, healthcare, And I did a lot of different large scale events, small scale events, as well as a ton of behind the scenes. And when I left, I was the general manager for an organization that shipped out thousands of supplements to people across the country. And so managing customer service, fulfillment, working with our IT group because we had our own system and interacting with sales and making sure that operations is doing what it needs to do so that sales can do their job and all of those things. So there was always a lot of code switching that was going on depending on who I was talking to, and I was always hiding who I was. There are a handful of people in my corporate career that authentically knew exactly who I was to my absolute core. And I could walk and run into them today and I would not have to mask at all. But being in a room where you're highly analytical, so when you are looking at things and you're digging into them, that makes people really uncomfortable. And it especially makes people uncomfortable when they're not maybe necessarily, they feel like they're not pulling their weight. And so I dealt with a lot of bosses where I had to learn to navigate their jealousy over the fact that people would come to me for answers and not go to them. And it wasn't, I didn't go out there and be like, hey, like I wasn't jumping up asking for that. People were seeking me out, but that was because my brain worked different than theirs. And then it creates jealousy, and then it creating these environments that became very toxic for me. And so a lot of times I had to be very careful about what I said in rooms, and I kept my mouth shut a lot of the times. Although they would be shocked because they felt like I was always opening my mouth. And I was also a bit abrasive to others because I was a woman and I was speaking directly to them. And I was speaking to them in a respectful way, but they felt like, oh, she's way too abrasive. She's too direct. I can't. So I had to really be careful about how I was presenting when I walked into a room, and a lot of times making myself smaller so that I could be heard. So.
I feel like I'm also in corporate America, so I've definitely dealt with being in the healthcare field as well. A lot of what we do is detail oriented, right? Everything is very precise. I'm an analyst, so I am always observing project management, right? I enjoy putting things in place. I like order. I like to have some structure. But then sometimes when you show that you have such a strength, those weights, that expectations tend to get heavier on you, and learning to balance between the two in my own business, that I can share, I can collaborate, I can work with you as a team, and it doesn't have to be just on one person. Sometimes people are not able to show their strengths because somebody else's light is so bright that you're afraid that if they get to shine a little bit, it's going to dim your light. It will not dim the next person's light. We can be great together. I am all about a team. Let's be great together. I'll help you, you help me, and we can walk around this together. I am all about showcasing your greatness. Let's see what skills you have, because I know I can't do it all. In the beginning, I did it all. I'm talking about I did it all. It's been overwhelming, but to now have the opportunity to share some responsibility, delegate, it gives me the ability to be great. And I'm like you, I've had to be mindful in certain meetings or certain times they're expecting me to say something. We work together, but you're going to help me. So let me be quiet and see what you bring to the table instead of me already, right? Because may not get a chance to see somebody else's view because I'm so used to being the first one to step up and speak up. If there's a room of quietness, I don't mind being the first one to speak up. I don't have a problem with that. But sometimes in certain situations, especially in leadership, you have to be quiet to see who else may step up, because you may be overlooking a bright and shining, somebody on your team that has some great skill set that could benefit your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
And so Rita, you talked about like how you just said, like I had to balance. So how do you balance your personality with authority when you're dealing with team or your employees or whoever it is that you,
One-on-one,
vendors?
one-on-one. That is the way for me right now, that is the way to go one-on-one. And I've had some current situations where I realized speaking as a team, nobody wants to speak up and say who didn't and who did. It's fine, I'm gonna talk to you one-on-one unless you and I know that there's an issue, but I feel like it's really important to be transparent. If I make a mistake, and I will make a mistake because I am not perfect, but I am coachable, I am teachable, and just because I am the owner does not mean that you are a part of this team. We are, teamwork makes the dream work. I say it every day, all day. I say it in every aspect of my life because I cannot hold everything up, right? I get overwhelmed. So I try really hard to balance. I've got a husband and he hears all the woes of the good, bad, and the indifferent. And I have a mother, right? My mother is my lawyer, counselor, doctor, there is some things that's going on. I'm calling her, she has no clue. She still calls it face box.
I'm gonna refer to it as Facebook.
Yeah, she's
from
like,
now
please
on.
don't on the face box, right? But
What's she talking about?
Facebook. She calls it, yes, the W, that they're asking for my www dot. Mom, it's your email. Right, but I talked to her about so many things and they keep me grounded. I'm very faith-based, so I'm always praying into things. And if the energy is not there, I can't, I'm gonna be quiet and allow it to go on around me until I feel comfortable. The energy is not right, I'm gonna sense it. But it's really important to have a balance. I vacation is my motivation, so it's always, I'm going to get to something.
Do either of you have ways that you balance your personality with also being the authority?
I would say for me, it's just about setting clear expectations and boundaries. I'm able to really show authentically who I am now, so I'm really bubbly, where before I was very not, very, strict and, straight line. And so, the kindness doesn't mean that I'm still not about my business. There's still a level of accountability and expectation that I have, but I try to be warm. I try to make sure that people understand the passion behind my business and my brand and have fun with it, right? Because the conversation I'm having is very serious. But I'm still having fun with it and just trying to make sure that there's a level of compassion and warmth in that whole, process. So.
She read my notes.
I think it's clear communication and setting boundaries. So, in the businesses that I own, we're building community and it can get very, very murky and very confusing. And sometimes, staff doesn't understand that when they come in on a social visit, I'm not socializing, I'm working. And so if you want to socialize, that's great. We got to find a different time. But when I'm on the floor and I'm helping customers, I am front facing. I have a persona that I am projecting and I have things that I'm doing and I don't necessarily have time if I am creating, sometimes people will be like, oh, well, you're just on your phone. No, actually, I'm doing social media right now. I'm responding to a comment with a customer, or we just got a new order in and I'm about to go pull it off the shelves, or we have an email that's come through that's urgent that I'm trying. So it's having people understand when you're in certain scenarios and when we're outside of the shop or when the shop's closed or we are having a social event, then yeah, that version of me is completely different, not completely, but I mean, it's different and the interaction is going to be different. And so it's having clear communications and setting those boundaries and maintaining those boundaries.
All right, so how do y'all define success for yourself, and has that definition changed over time? Michelle, you seem like.
I
you
mean,
got it.
success for me in the beginning was all about numbers,
Yeah.
right? It was, I started this nail polish company. It was a brand new industry for me, a transition from healthcare and education into beauty, right? And I love beauty as a woman, but now I'm in this whole new market. It's brand new to me, and I've got to sell this nail polish, right? That was the mindset. And that's how I set up my KPIs, and that's how I originally thought I was successful, right? And so now, of course, success to me is about impact, right? I'm able to educate women about the toxic chemicals in conventional nail polishes. I'm able to see that transitional mindset of, oh my God, I didn't even know that nail polish was toxic, or that my gels were, the chemicals were linked to cancers and developmental, like to see that light bulb moment of something that I've been able to develop, it, the impact that it's now making. And then just, being able to see the growth in the product being into different retail stores, and people coming up to me and saying, oh, I know you, I saw you on the news, or your products are at Fresh Time, or my mom, she's a breast cancer survivor and she loves your nail. Like that is just like the best thing ever for me right now. So success again is just impact, like just being able to see that growth through impact.
All right, I was gonna say, feel like you like just. The way that I define it is having respectful relationships all around me, people being respectful of one another. We have really built our brand around inclusivity, and so you may not agree with the person sitting next to you. You may not look like that person. You may not have the same interests as that person, but they're still a human, you're still a human. Everyone can be respectful of one another, and that being able to build a community around that is really important to me. When people come in and they say, oh, this is my safe space. Like, there's so much stuff going on out here, and I can walk in here and I just feel like I can get a breath of fresh air, and I can take a minute and I can fill my cup, so that when I go back out there, I can deal with whatever's going on out there, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's their work, whether it's general society, like whatever those things are, it gives them the ability to recharge themselves. And having people that come in that have this welcoming and curious spirit about themselves, like those are the things that I find success. When we do the Midwest Fiber Festival, having people come through and they're just so excited because there's vendors from all over the country, and it's celebrating fiber arts, and it's seeing stuff that they've never seen before, meeting people they've never met before. Having something and seeing that excitement, and that, I mean, yes, I want to pay all the bills, so sponsors are out there. But like at the end of the day, being able to create a space where people feel like they can come together and be themselves authentically, I think that for me is what success is about.
In the beginning, for me, I wanted to be booked and busy. Booked and busy. It was all I wanted, right? My first year I did 40 events, right? And I'm talking about, we were just learning, understanding, pulling tables, pulling generators, bringing to make it work. And I wanted to be everywhere all the time. And then a bit of burnout comes behind chasing that, right? So then I found some stability, and now the stability where I am now, I get to talk with you, and you come and see me every week, and I'm excited to pour into you, right? About energy and positivity is important to me. I talk about all the time, I leave glitter everywhere I leave. So when I'm communicating with you, I want you to feel good to talking with me about anything. I had not a situation, but a scenario a couple of weeks ago, and I had a long line, right? Long line, and I can see the people I make in my business to speak to my customers, even if you're in line, you're 4 people behind, I acknowledge that you're in line to support me and my products. That is, right, that's important to me, and so people are in line, and I must have had a young lady and her husband. And I was just messing with her, talking to her and just engaging in her. And went on by my business, but because I enjoyed that part, that's important to me to reach you, right? It's important. The husband came back like last week and he like stepped to the side. He's like, "Can I speak with you?" And I was like, "Sure, what's going on?" He was like, "My wife is going through cancer and she doesn't want to get out the house often. And she wanted to stop because she heard you talking and loud and it brought her attention to you." And he said, "You engaged in her, you made her interact." And he's like, "She talked about you at dinner. She talked about you later that because of the way you made her feel." Now that's success for me, right? Because now I'm able to touch someone and I would, I had no clue what her situation was. And he was like, "You may not even remember her." And I actually do remember her. But he was like, you didn't point her out, you didn't make her feel like you were, feeling empathetic to her, or sympathetic to her. I had no clue what her situation was. But for me, you're giving me your time. I appreciate you, right? Because I'm only successful because of the customers that I serve. So for me, now with my cocktail and mocktail business, I'm doing mobile bartending because I'm coming to you and bringing that experience to you at your wedding, your party, your kid's sweet 16th birthday. I'm now getting that opportunity to be more engaging with my customers. That's important to me. And I'm not as booked and busy, but the quality, the quality over the quantity makes such a big difference to me.
I love that.
Mhm.
Also, I never thought about like sweet 16 mocktail party. Now this is all I know.
I've done proms, we've done homecomings, because it's an elegant mocktail. And so just because you're not drinking, there's a safe space for that as well.
Right.
And I'm bringing that energy for you to feel sophisticated in that.
Oh, I know.
Right?
Yeah, I'm going home tonight and pretending that I am turning 16.
Yes.
All right, so what advice would you all give to women who feel torn between external markers for success, so awards, that money, those kinds of things, and personal fulfillment? It sounds like you all have kind of changed the way you see success.
I will say for me, not merit on the outside, but in personally, right? I've got 2 sons and they watch me grow. The dedication and understanding. I've got one that's extremely shy and one is extremely open. The one that's extremely shy wants nothing to do with it, but he'll help me make this and lift this and do that. But he wants to communicate with nobody ever. And the other one won't pick up a box of a bag of sugar or anything, but he will talk to the customers and they're watching me. And I don't even realize that I'm working to provide for them. So I had no clue that they were watching me. But recently in my current event, I got short staff because good help is hard to find. So I was like, "Hey, I need you to come in and work." And we had another friend to come in as well. And I watched the shy one teach, talk to the kids, engage with the customers. And I was like, and so he's like, "Mom, you've been teaching me this my whole life." Right? For me, that's it. That moment for me is success for me on a personal that doesn't hold anybody. And I end up telling him later on, like, "Did you see you talking to the customers?" He was like, "That's what you do. I only do what I see you do." And I was like, "Good." And I was like, "I love that." And that's important to me because I want to showcase, I'm passionate about what I do. And I want it to be authentic. It's, I want it to be redefined and I want it to be so. I enjoy my cocktail business. It's called Pretty Lady Elixirs. I adore my mother. right? She is my everything, and I call her pretty lady. And so when I start thinking about the idea of what it is that I want to do, and I was like, I'm gonna call it Pretty Lady Elixirs, right? I'm going through it, I'm talking about it. And so somebody tells it to her, and she's like, that sounds so cute. And she goes on about business, and she tells her sister, and she's like, did you know she thinks you're naming that after me? And I was like, I am. She was, and now she's crying, and now I'm crying. Right, because she had no clue, but for me, she leaves an impression on me, right? Every day, morning, noon, and night, she is invested in me that is not monetary. So everything I do, it's not that I'm doing it to make my mother proud, but man, my mother has made me proud, so I will forever be dedicated to being the best that I was born into this, and so I put that into my children. So it's a very good circle. So it's not a monetary or it's not a reward, but being genuine is important to me.
I would just say, create a business that is personal. And where you can be grounded and not necessarily performative, because that's how you stay in business longer, right? I feel like the customers, community will tell you what they need, right? It doesn't have to be a dictatorship, it's important to listen, be grounded, like I mentioned, and just have fun with what you're doing and allow it to be purposeful. Because performative, it can lead to burnout big time. Stress, health issues, all kind of things, right? You're worried about where that dollar's coming from. And I think just being in this space and just allowing, God to be at the forefront, and it will come.
Yeah, I think flipping the switch in your brain where you're not I feel like we're always so focused on money. How much money is in the bank account? How much is in retirement? Do I have any savings? If this thing happens, how can I pay for it? Like right now, my dog is sick. I could afford to do it, but he's 13. Like, I still have to make decisions, and is that the best investment of that? And so we're always focused on that, especially when we are looking at external telling us that we're successful. And so when you can flip that switch and really sit back and take a breath and say, okay, what makes me feel that, when you are looking internally for that message and not externally. I'm not looking for Rita to tell me that I'm the yarn queen. I actually
believe it.
I do believe it. Still the yarn queen. And when I was starting my business, and in fact, the other day, I had to sign a employment verification letter, and it said title, and I was like, yarn queen. Because when I was doing all of this, I was like, I want to have fun with this, and I want to enjoy it. And I don't CEO, like that's so stuffy to me, and that's not who I am. Even if I did own a big, huge corporation that was very data driven, like I still wouldn't want the title CEO. I would want something that is much more imaginative and descriptive. And so it's taking those moments and really focusing on yourself and listening to your own voice. And it is so flipping hard to get all those other voices away from you. So that's where you have to find your girls. You have to. And I have 3 of them sitting with me here today. And I have, I have 20 women that I can text right now and say, I have this thing happening. And even if they couldn't be here, they're cheering me on from beyond.
Yeah.
And so like finding that support system, however that support system is, if it's a significant other, but letting those people who are really going to tell you who you are and who you believe yourself to be, and listening to them, and don't listen to don't listen to them. Get them out of your life.
Quick, fast, and then they hurt.
Exactly. Bye.
Well, so I have some more questions, but does anyone either online or here have any questions that they want to ask? Yeah.
I'm just curious about the origin story of why you're passionate about elixirs and why you became the yarn queen. You know, what is your love of fiber arts? Where did it, where was it born? What about the nail polish? What's that origin story for you?
Yeah. You guys looked at me all. Okay.
I don't know.
So I created Demi Blues Clean and Vegan Nail Polish after my mom's experience with breast cancer and her inability to wear conventional nail polish. Just learning that conventional nail polishes had a lot of toxic chemicals. My mother she expresses her personality through her fashion, right? She may have blue hair, yellow nails, whatever, right? She's very flamboyant. And I noticed that she wasn't wearing nail polish, which was one of her most amazing times with herself, right? And so I asked her, Mom, why aren't you wearing nail polish? Women who go through breast cancer, they lose their hair. They can't do the things that they used to do. And I don't know why I asked her about nail polish. I think it was God. But I asked her and she said, I can't, it burns my nails turn black, the chemicals are really strong. And so I started to research nail polishes she could wear. I was thinking, well, let me find something that she could wear because I know she loves nail polish. And when I went to the market, I saw nail polishes that claimed to be healthier, but still had quite a few chemicals. And because I have a background in healthcare, I knew about those chemicals and how they impacted the body. And so I did found some nail polishes, but they didn't speak to my mom's personality either. So they were still toxic, but the colors were just dull and they were just not my mom's personality. So I said, well, let me figure this out. Like, I know chemicals. I have a little bit of chemistry background, so I know about chemicals, but I'm not a chemist. So I went to a cosmetic chemist, environmental scientist, and said, this is what I want to do. I want to create some nail polish. I want it to be minus formaldehydes and, first of all, the toxic trio that the beauty industry is talking about, but what else is in nail polish, right, that we can eliminate, and started to learn about chemicals that were linked to cancers, developmental defects, hormone disruptors, and just started pulling it out and creating these fun colors with vegan nail polish, and went from being a 7-free formulation to now 21-free, which is clean certified and vegan.
That's incredible.
So now my mom and all of her friends and my daughters and my granddaughter now have healthy nail polish that's bold and bright and minus the toxic chemicals.
What's your brand name?
Demi Blue. So Demi is my granddaughter's name and blue is my favorite color. So inspired by my mom, but definitely a legacy brand.
I love
it. Thank you.
That is awesome.
And your nail strengthener is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I never had long nails before.
Yeah.
Now I do.
Yeah, we have nail strengtheners. Most of our products are enriched with vitamins and nutrients. Our nail strengtheners have coffee extracts, our cuticle oils. We have non-acetone nail polish removers, kids collections. We have everything you need to start your vegan nail care journey.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
I think I was born wanting to own my own business. I was really bossy is what I'm told when I was little. I like to tell people what to do. So that's always the big joke. Like when you're a business owner, you like to tell people what to do, and then you don't have to, you go off and flutter about, well, it doesn't quite work like that. But I learned to crochet from a grandmother. I learned to sew from my other grandmother. And so from a very young age, fiber arts was always around. My mom likes to tell the story where I backward engineered a skirt that I loved. I was a majorette in high school. I loved this pleated skirt. I thought it was so cute. And I had these leftover sheets that I wasn't using anymore. So I took the material and matched it with something else. And I made the same skirt. because I loved it. I love the way it fit and fashion has always been in my blood.
Clear.
Thank you. And I've always had my own style from a very young age. I've always put things together that most people are like, okay, that was an interesting choice, but it works for me. And when in 2016 I was laid off, and I had been involved in multiple startup companies, met all of these different people, have had all kinds of different roles, from being the receptionist, answering phones, to running customer service. And in 2016, I was laid off from a job that I finally felt like I was starting to be seen, and I have met one of my favorite business mentors, but also dear friends through that process. And I learned a lot. And she had said to me one day, she was like, you will never have to interview for a job again. And I was like, that's a really peculiar thing to tell somebody. Like, that's interesting. Okay. And when I got laid off, I started consulting, but I was so all over the place, and I didn't have it together. And so I watched these other ideas come to fruition around me of what it was that I wanted to do. I wanted to have a community space. I wanted to have a yarn shop in West County. I wanted to put all of these things together. I wanted a space where vendors could come and sell their things. Well, then life happens, and then you're like, oh, here's the easy way. I'm gonna go take this job, and I'm gonna go do this thing, and I'm gonna help build this company. And that was a fantastic experience that's made me better now. But what really happened was that going through that process, and then 4 years ago now, my husband had leukemia, and we thought he would die. And I also was at the largest I'd ever been. I was not healthy. I have all these disease states that run in my family. And when he was going through his bone marrow transplant, I was going to my boss and resigning my position, and going to him and saying, I'm quitting my job, and I'm going to open a yarn shop, and I'm going to start a fiber festival, and we're going to see where this goes. And so through that process, that's what gave me the strength to do it, which seems very opposite of when you would do that. That's usually not the time to pull the trigger. But I knew in that moment, I was like, if I don't do this now, I'm not going to do it, and I won't live to see 50. And so I need to do this to take care of myself and to take care of my family. And fast forward 4 years later, he's alive, he is well, and we are living out this life where I am building these businesses and creating a fiber arts community in the St. Louis region, and pulling people together in a way that hasn't been done in the past. And that is what I will continue to fight for, because when you also have people who are doing the art that you are encouraging them to do, it's helping them save their lives in so many different ways. And so many stories we hear, and counselors who tell people, you need to pick up knitting or crochet or weaving or felting, whatever. You need to do something with your body, and you need to do something with your brain. And this is a great answer for that. And so that is something that really inspires me to keep going and to keep building and bringing people together to support that. Thank you.
I love that. That's awesome. It's a great, they lead you, the passion will continue to push you and motivate you, even when you don't feel like it, that you've got
Right.
passion behind it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
So again, you guys know I sold cakes forever and a day, but some years past that, I had the weight loss surgery. I was also really heavy. And what happened was I was riding on my motorcycle and somebody took a picture of me riding on the highway. And I looked at that picture and I was not happy with who I saw riding down the highway, right? I was like, oh, don't ever post that picture ever. And he's like, it's going on the front of the news. You won second place. And I was like, don't you ever post that picture. So I had weight loss surgery and I no longer wanted to be baking cakes in the kitchen anymore, right? I had overcome something that had had me forever. Just because you always wanted the cakes from me, I was leaning into it. But if I bake 10 cakes and I only sell 8. They won't ever eat a cake. They don't like it, so they've always watched it. So I started losing, I felt good. I lost 140 pounds. Life changer for me. I'm able to move a lot better, but I didn't want to do that anymore. I was so used to selling. Was born to be an entrepreneur because I was so used to selling something. There was a dark time and I was more sad about not having something, right? Something else to do. And so I was used to cooking. I'm passionate about cooking for my family, right? I'm going to feed you. You're not going to walk away starving if you're not at my house because I want you to feel good when you leave. It's just a part of who I am. So I'm cooking and one day someone was like, you should sell this bottle of, lemonade. It's good. And I was like, all I needed was the trigger, right? So I called my board of directors, my mother, right? And I was like, Mom, I think I want to start selling this. And she's like, okay, baby, what do you need me to do? And I was like, so we're going, and my husband and I sat down and come up with these recipes, COVID hits. Right? I got a lot of time. Now I'm working from home. I've got plenty of time to strategize. I can do this the right way. I did it for years, selling it just at your family reunion or your barbecue. This time I have an opportunity to do it the right way. I connected with Miss Colleen 10 years ago, and she encouraged me. She is a silent partner in this business that you guys see, because she has helped encourage me through so many trials and tribulations. And as I talked about before, vacation is my motivation. So my goal is to hit all 50 states by the time I hit age 50. And I'm 41 and I've been to 41 states. I enjoy experiences. Right, I want to, and we jumping off the bridge. I cannot wait to jump off the bridge. If we're trying a new drink, a new whatever it is, new food, I am here for all experiences. And then I was like, I like the way they are serving those drinks. I like the way they're doing this. I like, so I'm now taking little pieces so I'm like, let's plan another trip to go and see how they're doing it in Florida. And let's see what Viva Las Vegas is doing, right? Because Midwest is slower than all of those entities. So I bring it together. And so right now we sell smoking lemonades down the Soulard. So when people are coming, they're like, it's smoking? Yes, right? So right, it's exciting, and so I wanted to bottle it in the beginning. Miss Colleen was like, what are you going on? I was like, I want to do it, and she's like, well, let's work through how to make this happen. And so I always wanted to do with the cocktails, and I've changed the name of the business, but it was really hard to get your liquor license, right? And so that was a hard hurdle, but I pivoted. You're not gonna stop this show, because he wouldn't give me the vision if he wasn't gonna give me a way to make it work. So coming up with being able to bottle the lemonade, kids love the lemonade, so I'm gonna keep the lavish lemonade for the kids and the mocktails, but the adults, I'm here for an experience. I made girls' night. We went to a winery, and I don't even have the product, the lavish lemonade, ready to be sold, and I've sold Cedar Hill cases.
That's so
And
awesome.
I don't even have it tangible in my hand, but I have the ability, because I'm going through, like you said, you have to go through a chemist in order to do it the right way. So I'm connecting with the right people to encourage me to do it. And I'm always transparent about my valleys and mountains of being able to do it. So for me now, it's about, I want to share my experience and my joy. If you're having a bad day, come and have a cocktail with me, and I will encourage you just to feel better, because life is hard, and you know, we're not worrying about yesterday. Today is the day. We're gonna enjoy this right now.
Well, if I could just pipe in, this woman, I have never, ever met anyone like her as far as the passion and the drive and the dedication. I mean, I am serious. She will tell me things she's gonna do and I'm just like, I'm glad it's you and not me.
That's exactly that.
And then she'll also like email me, Miss Colleen, I need to talk to you because this is just out of here. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, all the time.
Now I
Yes.
know, like, yes, you can. And you will. You might just have to pivot a little bit, right? So anyway, she's amazing, so.
And I've taken advantage of some of the resources. I did a program some years ago and it was like a Shark Tank thing. And I am so dedicated. It was 10 people on day one and I was so dedicated. 16 weeks on the day it ended, I was the only person there. And I had a room full of friends and family were so excited. It's like, you know, when it came to class, I was like, I believe in me.
Yeah.
You know, I believe in me. I don't care what nobody else says. I believe in me. And that business didn't take, but the investors are like, we believe in you. And so when you get it together, you come back and we're going to invest in you. And when I got my things together this time, I went straight to them and it was done, right? And so the passion and being consistent is always important to me. It is. And networking is so important, so important. I did a field trip with Cortex and we were at this huge factory and there is a male dominant business, right? This is a male driven. There's like 4 women and 200 men. And at the end of it, I kind of tiptoe out of there. And there was a guy tapping on my window. Can I get your business card? And he was like, I would love for you. I think my wife and my kids would enjoy it. I was like, right. And I was just getting some lemonade, telling him this lemonade is not my lemonade, you know, but he was enticed. So networking is really important.
Any questions online? Any other questions from you? I've got,
anything.
okay, so then, let's see, what else? I'm gonna have to pick one more question, maybe, so, what habits help you remain grounded as you scale or grow your business?
Wine.
No,
We need to know, like,
I got a sangria that changed the whole attitude. I have a sangria.
Do you have an elixir that you can make into, what do they call it? Sangria.
Sangria, that's what I just said. I have
Oh,
a
I'm sorry.
sangria.
Sangria,
I have a sangria, so we have
You have the car?
margarita. We have margarita mix, grenadine, pina colada, simple syrup, blue carousel. Anywhere there's a margarita being poured, I have an elevated cocktail mix that will enhance it. I'm gonna increase your business profit margins by enhancing your customer's experience. So, and not only that, you can be your at-home bar. I'm bringing it to you and you can't help because it's got edible glitter in it. So the shine and the shimmer in it makes you put your pinky in there. Even if your kids will stress you out and you're sitting in the closet sipping your coffee. Right, it's a feel good, it is a feel good moment in the bottle. It really is. The habits that I have had to structure for myself is balance, right? Like I'm talking to God so much more. Hey, it's me again. My son's like, you talk to him like that? He and I go way back. So he is a part of who I am. But I started out with a table, a cooler, and some gallons of lemonade. So to sell to 15,000 customers 2 weeks ago, I have come a long way. So my balance, my habits is I have to structure, you know, my Nacho Average Lemonade is on Mondays. Tuesday is Pretty Lady Elixirs. I am knee deep. Don't talk to me about anything else about that because today I have to focus on that. Wednesday is my day, right? So today is my day. No other way would I rather enjoy it to network with women who are growing and doing things. But Wednesdays are my day. And then I have other days that I have to dedicate to my business so that it can be continued to be successful. And Sunday is the Lord's day. I am cooking for the family, Sunday dinner, folding laundry, taking a walk, going to church and just getting that. I have to keep a balance. If I don't, I'm Miss Colleen. This is not working, right? She is a silent partner for me because she is more than just a business coach. She has been a therapist, and I was like, I am quitting this. I don't ever want to do this again. And she'll let me vent, and then you're like, what can we do to make it work? And you've come a long way. So I think for me, dedicating days to it and trying to stick to it. And so I tell my friends and family, because I've got a really large family, but I'm like, look, Wednesday, if I'm talking to you about business, don't talk back, right? Because I go to therapy, right? Because I work full-time and I have a full-time business, and then I'm growing, scaling up a second business. I have a kid in college as a type 1 diabetic. My husband is a kidney transplant recipient. So all of this has happened in these 4 years. So I still have hair on my head, so I've not pulled it out, but I've created some cocktails that made me feel better. You know, I walked away feeling more encouraged, and the confidence is better in me.
And
Yes.
we are honored because it is Wednesday.
Yeah.
It is
Wednesday. Thank
And
you.
listen, I did not tell, the only person I told was my mother, and she said she didn't feel good, but she's like, make me proud. I was like, yes, ma'am.
Oh.
But I didn't tell my friends and family because they are the type to come in the boat, you know, in the loads. And I was like, we're just, you know, we're growing, and I have to stumble and understand some things myself as I grow in this business.
And you have another job, right?
I do have a full time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I knew that was gonna happen. Yeah.
I have a question. As entrepreneurs and women in business who also have a busy personal lives, how do you keep your accountability towards your growth? Like, how do you keep not working too much in the business, but finding the time to work on your business?
I'll say the same. I piggyback off of her. I have a very structured schedule because I am extremely ADHD. So Mondays, my store is open Tuesday through Saturday, Sunday and Monday. Sunday is family day. I'm also a very traditional person, so creating traditions and things in my family is crucial for me. So Sundays is Sunday dinner. It's church, it's bringing my daughters and my grandbabies over to just kind of balance me out. I am an avid solo traveler, so I love to travel the world. I've gone to places people probably would never go by themselves, but I've gone. So I do schedule travel into my schedule. Mondays is my admin day. That's the day I get caught up on emails. So if you email me and you don't hear from me on a Wednesday or Thursday, you know that Monday is the day that I'm probably going to respond. Mondays is my admin day. So I make phone calls, emails, business development, meetings, things like that on Mondays. Tuesday, there, you know, so I have a different day for different things. And that's the only way that I can stay balanced because my mind will be trying to do it all. And it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. I'm very structured.
I aspire to be both of you. Start to get into a structure and then I'm like, oh, well, you know, this thing came out, so of course I want to do that.
Yeah.
But I have accountability groups. I have essentially 3 different types of accountability. So one is other business owners in my industry. They're not necessarily here in St. Louis, but we have a relationship and we meet every Thursday morning for an hour. And where we might mastermind problems, we check in with each other. Hey, you have this big project going on. What's the status on XYZ? I have a woman that I meet with every month and we sometimes meet for an hour, sometimes for 3 hours. It just depends. But we really kind of get into the weeds on some of the more intimate things that maybe we're wanting to dig into. And then, recently, the women's group that I'm in, Little Black Book, just started Onyx. And so I have a cohort with that. And I have two other women. And in fact, this morning we met, but we have a monthly meeting at large with all of the women in Onyx. And then our cohort tries to get together at least 2 or 3 other times throughout the month. It helps me because in the moments where I'm struggling with something, I have people that have different experiences and are in different environments, but they're able to give me advice and help me see things through a lens so that I can be working through that. And so, I don't, the accountability is what I really need, but I am constantly striving for that structured schedule. It just gets away from me and then I'm offloading on the, aren't we having fun?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wait, hold on. I need to get myself back together, so.
It's not easy. It's not easy. My husband said today, after your event, you're coming home and relaxing. And I was like, I've got to go to the kitchen and eat 300 pounds of food. I cannot just relax. So you have to balance. It is not always easy. So I'm with you, the ADHD, I got it because I am all over the place sometimes.
It's sad.
Yeah.
The structure has been like, I grew up in structure. And so I think that's just, and then being a very young leader, structure, right?
Right.
So it's just a part of my everyday, like I have to have it. Oh my God, I get so lost if I don't have structure. And I'm just like,
And I worked in a lot of environments where I was working with people where parts of our job was structured, but a lot of it wasn't. And like, especially when I worked in construction and was doing project admin and project coordination work, the work I was doing, I was the last person to touch the work before it went to the client. You're literally standing at the bottom of the mountain and the avalanche is coming at you because of course everyone else has been putting off stuff and they're like, well, it's not that big of a deal if I finish it. No, it is because I still have 4 hours of your stuff and I have 2 hours of this person, exactly before I can actually push it out. And so I've always been in positions where I've just made it happen. And so having that structure has always been, and then when you own your own business, like getting the guardrails on, that's all I talk about for like the last year is like, I feel like the wheels have fallen off and I don't even know how it's still going down the tracks, but we are, and here we are. And how do I get those wheels back on and keep them on? So, yeah.
Well, we are out of time, but, tell me where I can find you, what you have coming up. Promo yourselves.
Yeah, so you can find me at DemiBlueNaturalNails.com. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah.
So I do have a nonprofit called Demi Blue Cares. You can find it on my website, DemiBlueNaturalNails.com. But Demi Blue Cares, of course, our mission is to support breast cancers. We provide free manicures to breast cancer survivors. If you know a breast cancer survivor that we can spotlight on our platform, we are spotlighting breast cancer survivors on our website, on our social medias, and we're sending them a free bottle of nail polish for sharing their stories. So there is a link on Instagram in my bio. There's a link on our website where you can share a survivor story or you can nominate them to share a story. There's a form that they fill out and then they would be spotlighted. What else? The Instagram is Demi Blue NN, like natural nails. So Instagram, TikTok, I'm on all social media. Demi Blue. All right, I'm everywhere. But yes, let's support breast cancer.
And where can we buy your product?
Yeah,
shop, but also-
so we have a physical retail space, 4256 Manchester Avenue. You can find our products in Fresh Time Markets, St. Louis, Fresh Time Market, St. Peter's, O'Fallon. Go on our website. We do have a retail list. We're everywhere. We're not just local, we're in other states. But yeah, Demi Blue Natural Nails, we ship everywhere. So yeah.
And I just subscribed, so I'm gonna get 20%.
Yes. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so for the yarn shop, it's called YarnCom and Community Through Creation. We are located on Olive Boulevard in Creveport, west of 270, in between 270 and 141. If you know where BJC West Hospital is, we're in the Schnuck Shopping Center, just west of there. And we're tucked back in the corner. And we do open stitch groups, Wednesdays 1 to 4, Fridays 6 to 10 p.m. and Sundays 1 to 3 p.m. We also host stitch alongs. We team with other organizations, and one of them, because yes, it is October, so it is breast cancer awareness month. So we do what are called knitted knockers. And that is where people make breast prosthetics that women can put in their bras. So when they are going through treatment, if they're doing reconstruction, or if they decide not to do reconstruction, you make it out of specific yarns that they require, and then we get it to the local breast cancer facilities around the St. Louis region. And this specific weekend, we have a designer coming in who is doing a yarn tasting as well as doing a tassel class. So if you want to make tassels to decorate, you should take her class. Sarah's fantastic. And then we have a yarn dyer coming from the Pacific Northwest, and her name is Jessica, and her yarn is called Jada Woo and Jada Woo Designs. And just come check us out and see what classes we have going on. And we love hosting special events. So if anybody wants a space, we can definitely talk. And then the Midwest Fiber Festival is an annual festival. It has 50 vendors that come from across the country that specialize in fiber arts. We also have class instructors from all over. You can make small projects, big projects. You can learn something new. We have some really great classes that are coming up this year that require no experience whatsoever. Make some really cool fashion pieces or decorations for your home. And that happens April 24th through the 26th. We will be having a business summit kicking that off for small businesses. So if you're a pop-up business who's looking to take your business to the next level, we will be announcing the summit details here in the next month, and applications will open. And we are always looking for sponsors to help bring in the top talent of our class instructors and to help continue to build the community here in the St. Louis region.
We are NotYourAverageLemonade.com, so you can catch us on TikTok, Not Your Average Lemonade, Instagram, as well as Facebook. Nacho is NACHO, Not Your Average Lemonade. We are at Soulard Farmers Market every Friday from 10 to 2. We are on Saturdays 8 to 4. You can catch us on Grubhub, DoorDash. We'll deliver to you. Right now for the entire month of October, we'll be at the Pumpkin Patch in Creveport, East Farm. We're there 9 to 5, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then starting November, December, January, we'll do tons of mobile bartending. So we'll do tons of Thanksgiving parties, Christmas parties, New Year's. We are trying to be booked and busy again as we grow this new business. The goal is in January to launch Pretty Lady Elixirs, and I want to get in as many restaurants, bars, casinos, clubs, grocery stores, ladies' lounges, wineries. The goal is to get to Carnival Cruise Line. I'm speaking it into existence today, manifesting what I am expecting to do out of it. So we are available all the time. And again, we do catering all Monday through Friday.
Awesome.
Monday through Sunday, I'm sorry. We do every day.
I'm imagining this experience that includes mocktails or these elevated drinks with the vegan nail polish.
Party, so it's kind of like painting with a twist.
There we go.
Bring the girls out, we'll have mocktails, and they can create their own custom press on nails.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Well, thank you all for coming today. We really
Thank you.
appreciate you being
Absolutely.
here.
Thank you.
And yeah, I will post this online, so it'll be on YouTube if you want to watch it later and share it. So thanks for coming.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You're all amazing.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you guys for your time.
Courageous and inspirational.
Yeah.